So what is WPS? Well, WPS was something that was done to save users time and effort of configuring their devices. It stands for Wi-Fi Protected Setup. Now, there's some flaws inside WPS, and we can exploit that to be able to get onto a WPA or WPA2 network without having to even crack the password. So the way WPS works is there's usually a button on your router or a PIN number on your router associated with it. And what you would do is you'd push that button and then you would tell your device to configure, and it would automatically find the router and configure itself for that network. And when it does that, it uses a PIN code, and it's an 8-digit PIN code that it uses to be able to connect to this network. So once you push the button, it actually does a self-configuration between the device and the endpoint, and you can actually set up your wireless networks this way very quickly and easily, which is great for operations, but it's very bad for security. Now, the reason it's bad for security is because if somebody can touch your router because they're in your business, they can get on very quickly, but that requires some social engineering. Now, we can do some attacks against that WPS settings as well to guess the PIN number. The great thing about this WPS from a security vulnerability standpoint, if you want to call that great, is that there's only 7 digits to the PIN. So it's a fairly easy computation to guess all those digits and be able to guess the PIN number, because you only have 10 to the 7th options here. So you really only have less than 10 million passwords, which sounds like a lot, but for a computer that's pretty quick. Now, the other flaw that's inside of WPS is that when you would guess a password, for instance, if I guessed the number 5682283, it would go back and say, you got that wrong because those first 4 digits were wrong. But I can keep guessing those first 4 digits, and it will eventually tell me, you got the right first 4 digits. And now I only have to guess the last 3 digits, because the way it actually passed the password, or the passcode here, was it broke that 7-digit number into 2, a 4 section and a 3 section, which makes this an even easier problem to solve, because if I only have to go for 4 digits to get it right the first time, well, that's only 10,000 options. And then those last 3 are only 1,000 options. So it makes the problem very quick to solve if you start going against a WPS-enabled network. For this reason, a lot of newer networks, people will turn off their WPS. But in a lot of consumer grade and small business environments, WPS is still enabled. Why? Because it made configuring networks easy, and people like easy. So they set this up, they leave it up, and it makes it really simple for us as attackers to be able to get on these networks, as you'll see in the demonstration in the next lab.